Okay, I'm going to call together a special official portion of this meeting to address a couple CON issues. We do have a quorum present, and I would like to make a note on the date on the top of the agenda that I handed out. It's the wrong date. It should be Wednesday, October 2nd, not August 7th. So that date is wrong. It needs to be corrected. I'd like to suspend the regular order business to move forward with the expansion of territory for the Gowanda Ambulance Services Corporation. Yes.
I just want to get on the record before we get started with the roll call votes. We have two notices. Bonnie Van Housen has appointed Jeff Lucky, and I don't know if that's been brought to the council before, but it wasn't on my sheet, so it is now. And Bill Wilson has resigned. And I think we do have a new member application, but we'll wait till the regular portion of the meeting for that.
Okay. And I believe we do have a couple other alternates here.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to turn it over to the chair of the EMS Services Committee, Tim.
I'd also like, because it's being stenographically recorded, please state your name before you speak as well, and especially before we vote, state your affiliation and whether you're a member of the chair or as an alternate. Mr. Chairman, the Systems Committee, as a matter of application of the Gowanda Ambulance Service Corporation for their expansion of territory of their primary operating territory to include the portion of the town of Hanover between Seneca Road, Sutherland Road, Main Road, and Beebe Road to only include the Brooks TLC Systems Lakeshore Hospital campus. First, the Systems Committee has received the findings of facts, conclusion, and recommendation, and the record of proceedings from the hearing officer appointed by this council to hear this application. I offer these documents dated 9/24 of 2019 and 9/28 of 2019. Slide those down. I've received these documents and asked that the stenographer mark hearing officer's findings of facts, conclusions, and recommendations Council Exhibit 1 and the record of proceedings Council Exhibit 2. These would be the hearing officer's report as well as the transcription of the public hearing held in Silver Creek.
I received these documents and asked that the stenographer mark the hearing officer's findings of facts, conclusions of recommendation as Council Exhibit 1 and the record of proceeding as Council Exhibit 2. Please proceed, Mr. Kuchar.
Mr. Chair, the hearing officer found that the application of Gowanda Ambulance Service Corporation, the applicant, has been submitted on the prescribed form and is notarized and affirmed. The application is accompanied by all required attachments, endorsements, evidence, and other supporting and explanatory material desired by the applicant for the Regional Council to consider. The Council advises that necessary fees have been paid and that it has previously deemed the application to be complete. Number 2, the application and narrative thereto describe the proposed area of service, level of service, hours of operation, vehicles, equipment, and supplies, service location, and other pertinent operational aspects of the new service proposed. Item 3, the application describes the initial source of funds and provides financial documentation related to the adequacy of sources of future revenue and provides enough budgetary information to allow a reasonable assessment of the financial stability of the applicant to provide the proposed service and the financial feasibility of the proposal. Item 4, the application attests to the competency and fitness of the applicant and or the officers of the applicant's corporation. Affirmations of competency and fitness have been provided. They had been sent out previously on August 29th, and they had been received on September 26th. In the affirmative, there have been no negative declarations against Gowanda's executive board or their operations managers. The public application, item number 5, the public application and hearing process is sought obtained input from those who use and provide EMS in the area. Item 6, the applicant has solicited letters of endorsement from all EMS ALSFR agencies licensed to provide service in the area, EMS medical directors in the region, the chairperson of any county EMS organization, and county EMS coordinators, all hospital CEOs, emergency department directors, and CEOs of all municipalities. Item 7, the letters of solicitation include a general description of the new service, the type and level of service to be provided, the definition of public need, and a request for response by a specified date. Item 8, the letters in response to the applicant's solicitation have been signed by the CEO of the organization and other representative. Item 9, the application includes a copy or sample letter of solicitation, a list of agencies, individuals to which it was sent, and any response received. Item 10, the application was accepted and deemed complete by the Southwest Regional EMS Council on August 23rd, 2019. Item 11, the Southwestern Regional EMS Council set a public hearing for September 18th, 2019 at 6 p.m. at the Silver Creek Fire Association, 23 Jackson Street, Silver Creek, New York. This was the public hearing. Item 12, the notice of public hearing was sent in accordance with Public Health Law 3008 via certified mail to the chief executive officers of all general hospitals, ambulance services, and municipalities operating where the service seeks to operate. Hospitals adjoining the proposed service area, ambulance services with adjoining primary service areas, and a local health system agency were also included in such notice. Item 13, the letters with the notice of public hearing were postmarked at least 14 days prior to the hearing date. Item 14, the notice of public hearing included the date, time, and location of the public hearing, the definition of public need, a solicitation of response to the application by a specified date, and provided any mechanism for any interested party to obtain and or review the application. Item 15, the Regional EMS Council has maintained a copy of the letter of notice of public hearing, a list of recipients, and all postal receipts during the application process. 16, the information contained in the notice of public hearing was published in the newspaper designated by the Regional EMS Council to receive legal notices at least 14 days prior to the hearing date. Those newspapers included the Olean Times-Herald and the Dunkirk Observer, I believe, is the other newspaper it was in. 17, the public hearing was held on September 18th, 2019, beginning at 6 p.m. at the Silver Creek Fire Association, 23 Jackson Street, Silver Creek, New York, 14136, pursuant to the notice of the same. Item 18, the public hearing was held within 30 business days of the Regional EMS Council accepting the application complete. Item 19, a stenographic record of the proceedings of the public hearing was made. A true and accurate copy of the same is annexed here to and made a part hereof as those fully set forth. Item 20, the undersigned hearing officer heard from witnesses, received written statements, asked questions, and accepted testimony at the public hearing. The conclusions from the hearing report. The applicant appears to possess the financial stability to provide the proposed service. Item 22, the applicant has demonstrated the financial feasibility of the proposed service and the volume of anticipated calls are not such that an additional resource will need to be developed. Item 23, the applicant has met the burden of proof for demonstration of public need of a demonstrated absence, reduced availability, or an inadequate level of care in an ambulance or emergency medical services is not readily correctable through the reallocation or improvement of existing resources for that portion of the town of Hanover between Seneca Road, Sutherland Road, Main Road, and Beebe Road to only include the Brooks TLC Systems Lakeshore Hospital. 24, it was established that Brooks TLC Systems Lakeshore Hospital campus has an emergency room but is not able to admit patients beyond that initial care warranting regular interfacility transports. 25, historically, another CON holder for the area, All-Star EMS, has evolved as a primary resource for the service, and the practice has resulted for the hospital to call that agency directly for assistance, at least most of the time. No contracts or other writings evidencing an agreement for this process appear to exist. 26, All-Star EMS averages 80 to 100 such calls each month from the hospital and has internally developed a system whereby it requests the assistance of other agencies, including the applicant, to provide service when they are not available to handle the transfer within a 2-hour period of time. Item 27, the applicant demonstrated that over the last year it has been called for the assistance approximately 10 to 12 times each month by All-Star EMS. 2018 statistic information provided in Exhibit 3 averages to approximately 9 times per month with as little as 3 calls in November 2018 and as many as 16 in July 2018. At 28, the applicant has established that it has been directly requested by the hospital to provide assistance, but have declined as they did not have operating authority in that area. Instead, it had responded to requests for assistance from All-Star EMS. 29, the president and CEO of Brooks TLC Systems Lakeshore Hospital indicated in a January 20th, 2019 letter that she, among other things, strongly supported the applicant's expansion and greatly appreciated the applicant's prior work. Quote, addressing critical response times and ensuring that the appropriate level of service is maintained, end quote. 30, Bureau of EMS Policy 1206 indicates that, quote, mutual aid plans are not intended to substitute for the following. A, an EMS agency's continued routine, ongoing, or frequent inability to provide EMS response when requested or dispatched due to staffing and or equipment shortages. B, a determination of need for expansion of territory for routine, frequent, or ongoing response outside of agency's primary operating authority. C, contracting with an appropriately authorized EMS agency. 31, the average call volume established by the applicant compared to the total approximate call volume indicated by the current provider suggests that the applicant has been responding in a continued, routine, ongoing, or frequent manner, and that as a result, there is a need for its service. Item 32, this is especially the case as the current CON holder indicated it requests assistance when it has a potential response time of greater than 2 hours. Item 33, to the credit of the applicant as well as its opposition at the public hearing, each indicated the need for the other agency as each recognized an inability to provide coverage for all calls from the Brooks TLC Systems Lakeshore Hospital alone. Item 34, those within the specified area will benefit from the approval of this application. Item 35, the submitted application together with related materials contained in the record provides sufficient information to establish a public need for the area described therein. As a result, the application should be granted. He wrote his recommendation, and I quote, based on the foregoing and all the evidence before me, I support the application and recommend that it be granted, end quote. Mr. Chair, the Systems Committee met today, October 2nd, 2019. We carefully and thoroughly reviewed both the hearing officer's findings of fact, conclusion, and recommendation, and recorded record of proceedings. Further, we evaluated the application and all the related submissions, and as a result of that separate evaluation by the Systems Committee, came to the same recommendation that the application shall be approved. The committee further adopted the hearing officer's findings of fact, conclusion, and recommendation as the committee's findings, conclusion, and recommendation. Therefore, it is the Systems Committee recommendation that the application shall be approved. Mr. Chair, DOH Policy Statement 0606 states that the Systems Committee must make a motion to approve the application, which motion comes before the Council as a seconded motion for discussion. Motion to recommend approval is the seconded motion. The EMS Service Committee finds that need exists and recommends to the full Southwestern Regional EMS Council that the application for Gowanda Ambulance Service Corporation expansion of ambulance territory into a portion of the town of Hanover, New York, to only include the Brooks TLC Systems Lakeshore Hospital. We'd also like to mention for the record that every SWREMS member received the transcript as well as the hearing officer's report via email, and as well as the full redacted application. To the credit of the applicant as well as its opposition at the public hearing, each I've already done all that, huh? Even the alternates got the copy. There's a lot of stuff over here. To the credit of the applicant as well as opposition at the public hearing, each indicated the need for each other as recognized as an inability to provide coverage for all calls from the Brooks TLC Lakeshore Hospital. Those within the specified areas will benefit from the approval of the application. The submitted application, together with related materials contained in the record, provides sufficient information to establish a public need for the area described therein. As a result, the application should be granted as a recommendation from the EMS Services Committee. In the view of the foregoing, the committee recommends that the council vote to approve the application on the basis of the presumption set forth in Article 30, as well as the merits of the application itself. I so move that is the recommendation of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson, for the work that you and the System Committee has put into this application. Okay, we have here before the whole council now a seconded motion to approve the application for the Gowanda Ambulance Service Corporation, an ambulance service to expand their primary operating territory to include that portion of the town of Hanover between Seneca Road, Sutherland Road, Main Road, and Beebe Road, only to include the Brooks TLC Systems Lakeshore Hospital campus. Just so everybody is clear, at such time as there is a yes vote for approval of the application and a no vote is for disapproval of the application. Does everybody understand? Yes, it moves through. No, it denies the application. I will now provide the opportunity for council members present to make inquiries and ask questions, if any, prior to voting and making a determination. Please keep in mind that as the application and public hearing, copies of which you have all received and had access to, constitute an appropriate forum to introduce or provide new information. This is not an opportunity for council members or others to introduce or provide new information. The council has an obligation to discuss and record. The definition for public need, which is the demonstrated absence, reduced availability, or inadequate level of care in ambulance or emergency medical service available to a geographical area which is not readily correctable through the reallocation or improvement of existing resources. B, all pertinent points and issues regulating to the need in this case, as well as the specific reason for or against, including those observed by the committee as noted by observations detailed by Mr. Richardson. And the evidence presented and testimony from the public hearing, which in this case consisted of the applicant, several letters of support, one letter of opposition, related notices and testimony from Mr. Richardson regarding those documents, and testimony from those speaking during the public hearing. Any discussion?
Please discuss.
Ron, yes.
Ron?
I just want to clear, as an employee of All-Star, there may be a perceived conflict. However, I have no pecuniary interest in this, which is what the Public Officers Law says. Financially, no gain or loss for me. And I am not an officer of All-Star. I'm an employee.
Ben Gutman, ditto what Ron said.
Does anybody feel that there's a conflict with any of these two voting on this?
No.
Okay, so there's no conflict. So with discussion, go ahead.
Yeah, Dan Imfeld, council member. I just have a question for Gowanda. Looking at their financial page in their application, they've roughly doubled their revenue from 14-15 to 18. And I was just wondering if they were going to have the resources to continue to provide service like they have been, given their huge increase, I assume, in volume, because their revenue increased over that time period.
We have resources, yes. We do have extra ambulances, we do have staffing, so the answer is yes.
So if you got this, you would be able to continue to provide service that you have been providing?
That is correct.
Could you state your name too for this?
Michael Shaw, I'm the general manager of Gowanda Ambulance.
Well, Dan?
Scott Landfear. I just wanted to check with Gowanda. It appears from the public hearing, All-Star's staffing issue is just the lack of paramedics in the area. Do you anticipate staffing becoming an issue for you as well? It appears that this is a broad problem from the public.
I don't think, Scott, you can, point of order. We can't get new information. It wasn't brought up in the hearing already.
More discussion?
Somebody needs to say on the record that they feel there's a need.
Go ahead, Bob.
I attended the public hearing. I'm sorry, Robert Kuhn. I attended the public hearing in Silver Creek regarding the expansion territory for Gowanda Ambulance, and based on the testimony that I heard, there is a need demonstrated for this. Gowanda indicated that they were receiving calls for service from All-Star for that, and All-Star had mentioned the reasons why they were not answering those calls and turning them over to Gowanda, but however, All-Star didn't exist a plan of how to correct that issue through existing resources. There's no plan of correction on their part and how they can fix that problem. As we know, definition of need, or part of that is correction through existing resources, and there's no mention of how that was occurring to fix the need. So in the interest of patient safety, getting timely transfers out of a hospital that only has an emergency room, no inpatient beds, I feel that the need does exist to serve those patients.
Thanks, Bobby. Any more discussion?
on somebody's car or something.
No, it's on the record.
Okay, with the conclusion of the opportunity for discussion, it's time to vote. Again, what is before the council is the seconded motion to approve the application. So a yes vote is to approve the application for expansion, and a no vote is to not deny the application for expansion. The application requires an affirmative vote of the majority of the entire council, not just a majority of the council members present. As the council has 28 members, there must be at least 15 votes on the affirmative for approval. This will be a roll call vote, and the stenographer is directed to please record the vote of each member in the record as the secretary calls the roll. Remember, 15 affirmative yes votes are required to approve the application for expansions. Are there any questions from the council before we begin the vote?
Put on the record that alternates are allowed.
Also, for the record, alternates are allowed to vote, and the alternates, I believe we all have marked down and mark this. So if you're an alternate, when the person that you're an alternate for is name called, you would state your name and then your vote. Thank you. When you hear your name, please state your affiliation, your status as a member or alternate, any declaration or decisions regarding conflict of interest, a vote for, against, or abstain. Mr. Secretary, will you please call the vote?
Bonnie Van Huzen.
Jeff Lucky, alternate, Allegheny County OES. Aye.
Dave Bushman. Absent. Susan Campbell.
I'm a member, and yes.
Mona Carbone.
Mona Carbone, Jones Memorial Hospital, yes.
Jessica Gaines.
Member, yes.
Scott Lanfair.
Member, Allegheny County, yes.
Daniel Marsh.
Member representing the Allegheny County EMS Council, yes.
Tom Sampson. Absent.
Alternate May Stadelmeyer.
Last name.
Stadelmeyer. STADELMAIER.
That was a yes. Maggie Thompson.
Member, Allegheny County, yes.
Paul Weaver.
Member, Allegheny County, yes.
Chris Baker.
Cattaraugus County, member, yes.
Dorothy Button.
Cattaraugus County, member, yes.
Mickey Furness.
Daniel Parr, alternate, Cat County, yes.
Ed Frederickson.
Cattaraugus County, member, yes.
Robert Kuhn.
Member, Cattaraugus County, yes.
Brad.
Member, Olean General, yes.
Zocker, last name is spelled P-E-C-H-E-R-Z-E-W-S-K-I. Todd Reisner.
Robert Pritchard is alternate, Cat County, yes.
Tim Richardson.
Member, Cattaraugus County, yes.
Dr. Brian Walters.
I'm a member at large, and in the interest of disclosures, I'm also the medical director for All Star Ambulance. I vote yes in favor.
Stephen Cobb.
A member, Chautauqua County, yes.
Douglas Conroe, myself, member, yes. Jen Gutton.
Chautauqua County, member, no.
Ron Hassan.
Member, Chautauqua County, no.
Dan Emfeld.
At-large member of Shaw County, yes.
William Johnston.
Member, Chautauqua County, yes.
Laura Logan.
Member, Chautauqua County, yes.
Kevin Peebles is resigned, absent. We mark him absent.
No.
because-
Turn around.
Kevin. Oh, yeah, it's Phil that resigned. Kevin, you're reappointed. Chautauqua County member, yes. Phil Wilson, next on the list. We'll mark him as absent because his resignation has yet to be accepted by council.
Correct.
Yes. Twenty-four aye, 2 nay.
24 in favor, 2
Yes.
against.
Yes.
So it carries. Mr. Richardson, would you please notify the Department of Health of the results, as well as to provide a copy of the transfer of tonight's proceedings to the Bureau of EMS?
I will do that.
Thank you.
Also, Mr. Chairman, I do have another item on the docket, so to speak. It is a clarification of territory from the Delevan Volunteer Fire Department. The application was received and per 1106 was deemed to be complete. The clarification involves on their CON the portion of freedom needed to be better clarified. During the Systems or Services Committee meeting prior to this meeting, the language on the Delevan Volunteer Fire Department Certificate of Need shall state Town of Yorkshire and Town of Freedom Fire Protection District number 2. Make a motion that.
That's
the second.
That's a second motion from the council. So is there any discussion on the clarification?
It's from the committee, right?
Second motion from the committee. Correct. Go ahead, Bobby.
Just a possible disclosure, I'm an assistant chief with the Delevan Fire Department. There's a little history on it. It's been on our operating territory ever since we've been a certified agency, which was originally in 1999. And the original operating certificate was issued Town of Yorkshire / quote, portion of freedom. We've clarified that what we truly protect through contract that were provided in the packet that everyone saw is the Town of Freedom Fire Protection District number 2. That is illegal, has legal boundaries through the Department of Health, and they've clarified that that's okay to be on the certificate. So no additional territory, so feel it meets the need for an expansion. I'm sorry, not an expansion, for a clarification.
Any other discussion?
Dan Emfeld, you've been serving this all along, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Administrative fix.
Ordered by the Department of Health.
Well above Don's report.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, do the roll call vote. Again, yes means that you agree with the clarification of territory. No means you disagree with it.
Bonnie Van Huzen,
Alternate Jeff Lucky, Allegheny County, yes.
Dave Bushman. Absent. Disagree. Susan Campbell,
Allegheny County member, yes.
Mona Carbone,
Mona Carbone, member, yes.
Jessica Gaines,
Allegheny County member, yes.
Scott Lampier,
Allegheny County member, yes.
Daniel Marsh,
Allegheny County member, yes.
Todd Sampson,
Lisa Meyer, alternate, Allegheny County, yes.
Maggie Thompson,
Allegheny County member, yes.
Paul Weaver,
Allegheny County member, yes.
Chris Baker,
Cattaraugus County member, yes.
George Button,
Cattaraugus County, yes, member.
Mickey Fornes,
Daniel Parr, alternate for Mickey Fornes, Cattaraugus County, yes.
Ed Frederickson,
Cattaraugus County member, yes.
Robert Kuhn,
Possible disclosure of conflict of interest, a member of the agency. Member of Cattaraugus County, yes.
Brad,
Only in general, member, yes.
Todd Reisner,
Robert Pritchard, alternate, yes.
Tim Richardson,
Cattaraugus County member, yes.
Dr. Walters,
Member at large, yes.
Stephen Cobb,
Chautauqua County member, yes.
Douglas Conroe, myself, member, yes. Jen Gutman,
Chautauqua County member, yes.
Ron Hassan,
Member, yes.
Dan Emfeld,
At-large member, Chautauqua County, yes.
William Johnston,
Chautauqua County member, yes.
Laura Logan,
Chautauqua County member, yes.
Evan Peebles,
Chautauqua County member, yes.
Bill Wilson, marking absent. And 6 yes, no nay.
Okay, that motion carries. Approve the clarification of territory for Delevan.
I'm done.
Is that all you have, Mr. Richardson?
Yes, I turn the meeting over to you, sir.
Okay, I'd like a motion for adjournment of this special meeting.
So moved, Bill Johnston.
Bill Johnson, Chris Baker. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.